Hail and well met, everybody, and welcome to the latest edition of the least popular, slowest growing Battlebots podcast in all of creation, now with improved audio settings thanks to a painstaking process undergone by myself and my illustrious co-host in order to improve my microphone settings. I am your never popular host, the eternal understudy Jack Finney, and across from me on the other side of the world is a man whose Vegemite addiction always makes him say half a loaf is better than none, part of the duck designing committee that bought you the platypus, and a man who furiously denies any rumors relating to him and Vaporeon, none other than Makon Crayley, the Mac. How you doing today?
Why do you gotta do me dirty like that? I was gonna make a nice joke about, oh yeah, you know, half a loaf is actually pretty better than a full loaf, but why are you gonna do me like that?
Well, you know how it is, Mac. We try to subvert expectations on this podcast, and what better way to start than by subverting your expectations?
We have no expectations at all. We have the lowest expectations.
You just said we had none at all, and now you say that we had the lowest expectations.
Yes, none is low. None is low. It's literally the lowest you can get.
This is going to be an episode, isn't it?
Maths.
Geography.
Geometry. All those things.
Episode being the operative word. Anyway, we come to you following a fairly eventful episode with a number of excellent bouts and some less than stellar outings, unfortunately, but we will cross that bridge when we get to it. Mac, how did you find this particular episode in a vacuum before we start actually discussing it?
I thought it was fine. Like, it was weaker than like the last two episodes, but like it was alright. It was good.
Let's be real. The main reason that you think that it's weaker is because you weren't able to put together a special intro out of anything on this occasion.
Well, I mean, yeah, like, I mean, first of all, because you were in a rush yesterday, so we had to rush through the episode, and second of all, like, yeah, like, there wasn't really anything to, like, I don't know, creativity-wise, like, things to do.
Yes, after all of the times that he's given me grief on the occasions where I did not take notes, everybody, Mac did not take notes yesterday. So if you would all not mind shaming him a little bit on my behalf, I thank you.
Look, no, shut up. Look, you're the one who rushed me.
This is true. We needed to watch before I had to go to work tomorrow, you see, because I had to actually physically go into the office rather than working from home. But we managed to get pretty much everything watched, aside from a little bit of fluff, which we rewatched today. Anyway, we will now come to the actual discussion of the episode.
Actually, Jack,
First up,
hold on, Jack. Before we do that, last week I mentioned a certain Lineal Championship.
Yes. I thought that we were going to discuss that a little bit later on.
We're going to start this episode off with it, because I said we were going to start off with it. Okay,
Very good.
I looked into it, and it turns out from the beginning of the ABC series up until now, I could have probably checked also like the old stuff in there. We have 13 lineal champions. 13 people have held it. Well, technically like 10, but whatever. Starting off, the first champion was Bite Force, because Of course, it was Bite Force.
Okay, so we're probably going to have to explain parameters for people here who aren't familiar with the Lineal Championship system. Essentially, the Lineal Champion is whoever was the one who defeated the previous Lineal Champion. So the very first champion, and then the very first person that they lost to, so on and so forth. So across that, we have a legacy of 13 champions in this match?
Okay, so in a technical sense, yes. I guess in a just doing this sense, but in a technical sense, technically the full lineal ends at 8, but because fuck it, we're going like, I guess splitting into a second lineal title and just following it, like, you'll see why.
Are you referring to like if a robot ends up regaining the Lineal Championship and then loses it to someone else? Or in this case, are you referring to the fact that Bite Force technically left the sport undefeated and hasn't returned yet, and so has technically not lost its regained title?
Yes, the latter, yes.
Right. Okay. My apologies if I gave anything away for anyone there, but
No,
it's kind of
I mean,
a necessary thing.
No, I mean, yes, it makes sense. Okay, so yeah, first champion, Bite Force, of course. He beat. Actually, let me see who he beat. He beat. If I can find where Bite Force was again. He beat Tombstone in the finals of Championship 1.
Yep, that's the one.
And then the second champion, Chomp. I think the only robot that beat Bite Force.
And with Chomp now being retired, I believe that's the only world championship that Chomp is ever going to win.
Yeah, basically, because Chomp after this immediately lost to Yeti. The big Yeti spaghetti. And Yeti immediately lost to fucking Tombstone.
Oh.
And of course, Tombstone won that tournament, so hooray. Then we have Bombshell.
Yes.
Yep.
Bombshell.
An unfortunate guy, but it's okay because he lost it to our guy, Lockjaw.
Yes. Donald Hudson with another world championship to his name, with that in mind.
Of course. I think he immediately lost it. It was either immediate or like a defense or two. Like he lost it to a Minotaur.
Wow, Mac, is this the Lineal Championship or is it the 24/7 Championship?
I mean, look, there's a tournament, so it makes sense. Then he lost it to a Bite Force.
Yes.
And that's where technically Lineal Part 1 ends, because after this, Bite Force went undefeated for a full season and then retired.
Yeah, well, if we're being completely technical, Bite Force would still be the reigning lineal heavyweight champion because of the fact that it has never lost that title. And while the machine is not formally retired, Paul Ventimiglia is currently out of BattleBots due to his stand against the lack of remuneration for the teams who ultimately compete. From what I understand, he considers the prize money that is offered in regards to the robots to be not quite meaningful enough to be able to allow, sustainable competition because of how much money has to go into creating BattleBots.
Yeah.
So he's taking a stand by sitting out the various seasons so far.
Okay. Okay, so then, moving on to, I guess, Lineal Part 2, or, like, title vacant and then new champion, Endgame. Because Endgame won the tournament after Bite Force left.
Yes.
Yep, and then we have, the 10th champion, Minotaur. Again, it's a 2-time champion, Minotaur.
Okay,
then after that, he lost to Witch Doctor.
Again, the only world championship that Witch Doctor has managed to win so far.
That's kind of sad, but... and then, we have Tantrum.
Yes.
And then finally, we end on Endgame, the current champion.
Yes, so Endgame, the former king and now the once and future king, it seems, having then gone on to not only regain the lineal heavyweight championship, but also win the Golden Bolt tournament into the bargain.
Indeed, and he is V1 at the moment. He's looking to make it V2 next time.
Yep, and Endgame, reigning lineal heavyweight champion. Tantrum, the reigning official champion at present, but also currently on an 0-1 skid up against Minotaur. Whether or not that will continue, we shall see.
Yeah. Because, let's see, I think it's next episode. Yeah, next episode, we are going to have Endgame defending the title against Ripperoni.
I guess for Ripperoni, we can decisively say Ripperoni.
I mean, look,
anyway, it was appropriate. It was appropriate that we mentioned Tantrum versus Minotaur a moment ago because our very first matchup of the night concerns one half of that equation: the Brazilian Bull, the Brazilian Behemoth Minotaur, up against Gary Jin and Free Shipping, coming in not with its original Sim Wedge configuration this time, but with some ground scraping forks to go alongside its spinning weapon.
Yeah, like,
now,
this was a good fight.
Oh, yes, my initial notes on this were should be epic, and true enough. Free Shipping starting out super strong, staying aggressive, came out of the gate and managed to actually rock Minotaur right out of the gate as well, didn't it, Mac? I believe it managed to get it skidding across the arena, and it took a moment for Minotaur to be able to reassert itself.
Yeah.
Free shipping did ultimately get one of its forks ripped off, and I believe it also ended up inverted at various points from getting hit, but it managed to stay strong, stay aggressive, and even with its reduced offensive capabilities, the great driving of Gary Jin allowed it to stay in for quite a while. However, Minotaur is known for its magnificent driving as well, and the surgical strikes by the Minotaur team ended up ultimately putting free shipping out to pasture when they reduced its mobility, taking out a wheel, and ultimately leaving it immobile, didn't they, Mac?
Yes.
Yeah, so it was short, but it was sweet. Oh boy, great little bomb fest to open this show.
Absolutely, like it was honestly good. Nice to see free shipping like start up pretty strong. Cause like,
yep,
it was a great driving fight too. Cause fucking hell, like Minotaur was he was dancing.
Oh yeah, and matter of great driving and bombfest ultimately setting the tone for what was to come later in the show with various other bouts, one or two aside, because our very next bout was another fantastic driving match, as well as being a bombfest in its own right, as we saw the return of the new and improved from zero to hero, from nobody to nightmare Claw Viper up against the previous second seed Ribbot. Now, going into this match, despite Claw Viper's very impressive outing up against Ominous, let's be honest, Mac, we were expecting Ribbot to come away with a fairly convincing win, yes? Because, Claw Viper had a grand total of 2 victories last year on review, 1 win in the Golden Bolt tournament, and 1 win against, pardon my French, which, not being mean, but was a fairly low-caliber robot.
I mean, okay, so on paper, yes, but after Claw Viper's first sowing, that sort of balanced out a bit.
Yeah, we gave it much more of a chance than we would have initially, but we still were pretty much favoring Ribbot to win, albeit I was also rooting for Claw Viper in this equation. Because, I like Ribbot, Mac loves Ribbot, but I also really want to see, Redemption teams do very well. And Ribbot, incredibly high caliber machine. It was the second seed last year for a reason, even if you feel that it was a little bit of a high seeding considering the strength of schedule it faced to get that seeding. But Claw Viper proved all of the doubters wrong in this one, as they came screaming out of the square, crossing the entire arena in 1 second flat and just slamming Ribbot all over the place. Ribbot was coming in with, on paper, a big weapon advantage, but Claw Viper's speed and massive driving power. 3 words describe this. I am speed.
Executive producer Speed Weed.
Yeah, Claw Viper on Ribbot in less than 1 second, dominating the fight from bell to bell in a crunching and high energy affair. Picking it up, suplexing it, slamming it into the walls, taking some damage from the hits, but ultimately, they were doing massive damage to Ribbot with those massive impacts, weren't they, Mac? You could see Ribbot gradually losing its mobility throughout this fight, and Ribbot is an incredibly tough nut to crack. It's taken hits from some of the strongest weapons in the show and still kept on kicking. It's taken the likes of Witch Doctor and Endgame to bring it down before, hasn't it?
Yeah, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to kill fucking Ribbot, but Claw Viper, he had the combination. He knew the combination of speed and just tenacity, I guess is the best way to put it. That was enough to do it. And actually, they almost got a original count-out win by getting it stuck on the little ledge bit.
On the dividers, on the ledges. Massive, just raw horsepower and driving skill ended up carrying Claw Viper massively in this one, as well as the fact that they've got those onboard magnets that allow it to hug the ground as much as possible. So it was just hitting Ribbot like a truck. Ribbot did manage to survive to the bell, but it was limping all the way by that point. And I believe that Claw Viper even managed to break Ribbot's weapon into the bargain, didn't they?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, just from sheer concussive force. This is the sort of thing that we remember seeing with Storm 2 at its most powerful back in 2003. I would argue that Claw Viper is becoming the modern day Storm 2 in that power to size ratio, because oh my god, this was hitting like, I'm not exaggerating here, it was hitting like a truck. It was hitting like if you actually hit something with a car, and it was just causing massive damage with every impact. Ribbot, usually super well driven and robust, Claw Viper made them look like a joke in this fight.
They did. Like, fuck. I seriously can't get over how this absurdly fast Claw Viper is now.
Yeah, like I said, from nobody to nightmare, from zero to hero, Claw Viper has gone from practically, by comparison, a joke into, honestly, one of the dark horses for the title this year. Like, I think it comfortably advances to like 3-1 by the end of the season, possibly even 4-0. And I think it could go far if it gets into the tournament. Which at this point, it's almost certainly getting into the tournament, even if it loses a fight or two moving forward.
Yeah. There's no way it's not making the tournament. Like, there's no way it's not making like the top, like, I guess 18. Like, I think it's easily got a slot in there now. Like, after these two performances.
Oh, definitely, and I think it's pretty, like, calling it now, Claw Viper is a lock for most improved this year.
Absolutely.
When we do our end of year awards ceremony, I feel like Claw Viper is a lock for that award.
Yeah, like the glow up is next level. Like
not just in terms of the machine's robust construction, but also in driving skill. Because it was fast, but it couldn't quite maneuver as well as it should have, and it was unfortunately not as well driven as it could be. Now it's being driven masterfully.
The idiot strap is the key.
Yeah, you could tell that the team captain has been putting in the work off screen to get Claw Viper to be the best it possibly can.
Hell yeah. You love to see it. You actually love to see it, because this is what robot fighting is all about. It's reinventing yourself, coming up with brand new shit that makes you the best.
Growth through struggle.
Exactly.
That's what Battlebots is.
Exactly! Because, like, you wouldn't have current Tantrum if you didn't have fucking Burger Man Tantrum.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. Claw Viper, shout out to you. We love you. Ribbot, great effort, but, yeah, just, well, we've got an image that sums up this fight, don't we, Mac?
Yes, and it is on the screen right now. And I've definitely already made it, and I'm not waiting until tomorrow to make it.
Yep, just a frog in the old jaws.
Yeah. Oh, right, that image. Oh, wait, no, I thought that was the thing I had to make. Oh my god!
Yeah, just a frog in the jaws, just like in the actual fight itself, where you can see Ribbot very clearly clamped in Claw Viper's gaping jaw.
Oh god, that's a very small image, actually. Now that I look at it. Oh god, I'm gonna make it like the those computer background, like the tile ones that have like a bunch of these same images like going down.
But with that, well, we'll come back to this fight later on when we do our end of episode discussion as well.
Absolutely.
Up next, we had Lockjaw versus SawBlaze, and on paper, very interesting fight. And ultimately, it was an early crunching affair, with SawBlaze going right for Lockjaw's underbelly when it was able to get it inverted. But Lockjaw did manage to make a fight back, even getting to the point where SawBlaze's weapon ultimately ended up failing it. Unfortunately, Lockjaw ended up getting stranded, and that ultimately cost them the fight. And it's a shame, because at that point, Lockjaw actually stood about as good a chance as any at beating SawBlaze, having managed to break the weapon and everything.
Yeah, I still think it would have been an uphill battle, because SawBlaze is a bulky robot, so Lockjaw getting around like would have been a struggle, but if it could have, it had a chance of winning, but unfortunately that was not the...
Let's be fair, if anybody could have done that, it would have been Donald Hudson.
Oh yeah, true, of course.
Alas, it was not to be, and Jameson Go goes marching on with yet another win under his belt, and Lockjaw, unfortunately, now 1-1, but, you know, they've still got a ways to go. Yeah. He could still come back.
Yeah, that was, I mean, yeah, like, because it was an unlucky break, but hey, what can you do?
Yeah, all that we can do is wait to see if he will come back stronger later on, and I'm sure that he will. Donald Hudson always manages to find a way to bounce back, last season aside.
True.
But even then, he was still hyper-competitive in each of his losses.
Oh, absolutely. Who's he up against next? Let me check. Check it out. What? Glitz!
Oh boy, that's a rough fight.
Yeah, it is. Like, good. Honestly, yeah, like, if any fight can get Glitz back into things, it's that fight.
Still, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Donald Hudson does have a trick or two up his sleeve after all, and Glitch is an incredibly powerful machine, but it has been having a bit of a rough season so far when Riptide managed to one-hit kill it.
Yeah, Glitch is Gremlins 2, the new breed, whatever the fuck it was called.
Guess you could say it has a glitch.
Yeah, next fight.
Okay, so up next, Blip versus Huge. A very interesting fight on paper, with Blip having to make some modifications to their robot in order to be able to fight the incredibly tall order, pun intended, that is Huge, equipping what can only be described as Batman armor and gauntlets, which were designed to hook onto Huge's wheels and allow them the ability to be able to get them flip.
Didn't work that way.
One thing that we definitely have to discuss in this fight is Farouk's face on his introduction to Huge.
He knew what he was doing.
Look at his expression there and the way that he delivered it. Oh boy.
God, he is the man.
It had us in stitches. We do not remember what Chris and Kenny said when Huge was actually being wheeled out, because we were just in stitches at Farouk's delivery of that line.
Absolutely. God, he had some good ones this episode.
Oh yeah, I mean Farouk is always on point, let's be real.
True.
Farouk is like low-key the MVP of the show in a lot of ways. And I hope that we never lose him. It would not be Battlebot at this point without Farouk. And you can tell Farouk loves the show as well, so yeah.
Oh yeah. He loves this shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was actually a pretty competitive fight, despite effectively being one-sided.
Yeah, well, to be fair, in the early course of things, Blip was actually doing quite well. Managed to get some good early flips in on Huge. Huge was managing to land hits, but I would argue that in the early stages of the fight, Blip was actually doing enough to consider this fairly even. Then, of course, we got the moment of the Chihuahua killing the Great Dane by getting stuck in its throat when Huge's weapon got buried in Blip's face and the two of them got stuck together. And it was to the point where a rather sad in terms of eyes looking Huge, and Blip had to be physically separated by crew members, and then the match restarted, as they were both still mobile, but unfortunately for Blip, that hit killed their weapon stone dead. All that they could do at that point was continue to try and stay aggressive and controlled, and to their credit, they actually did manage to remain somewhat competitive, as they managed to, shunt Huge around a little bit, and they stayed aggressive, they stayed controlled, but ultimately Huge was the one who was getting the big damage points and was also staying very aggressive itself, went to the judges, and ultimately they rolled in favor of Huge. And Huge now finally back on a winning record in earnest after this. And this is up against one of the big ones to watch this season as well. Because Blip, after all, did very, very well last season. And while it had a rough start to this season, this isn't really a loss to be ashamed of or anything like that.
Oh, yeah. Like, honestly, yeah, both of Blip's losses, like, he's still been, like, very competitive in both of them. And also, like, if he could have disabled Huge's weapon, like, I feel like it could have been a lot closer, but I don't know, it was a bad draw for Blip, honestly.
Yeah, ultimately this was the expected outcome of the two. Huge, massively improved driving-wise this year. This could be a year where they're one to really watch.
Absolutely.
Up next, we had another one of the big highlights of the night, Witch Doctor versus Fusion. A brutal fight on paper for both teams. but one that's on paper, Witch Doctor almost certainly the favored machine. However, as we've seen, Rhys Ewert's machine Fusion this year is massively improved in terms of reliability. And in this bout, you know, Fusion, the underdog, but could have been a great fight, and true to form, it was. Fusion actually ended up drawing first blood in this fight, heavily damaging Witch Doctor's front wedge to the point that it actually managed to rip off one side of it over the course of the fight. They went weapon to weapon, and in the early exchanges, Fusion was actually winning. But ultimately, Witch Doctor's weapon reliability proved to be greater than Fusion's in regards to the vertical spinner, and eventually that vertical spinner was disabled. Witch Doctor came back strong, but Fusion still managing to retain good control and aggression and bringing its horizontal spinner into play, which ultimately, again, ripped off one half of Witch Doctor's front wedge, as well as ripping off one of their wheels and heavily damaging their spinner. Unfortunately for Fusion, it also lost a lot of mobility in the process, and while it did stay active until the judge's decision, it ultimately ended up falling short in regards to the actual decision itself. It was very close. It was a split decision as well. And ultimately, this was just an amazing fight. Witch Doctor managing to back them into a corner, reduce their mobility because they seemed to lose drive on one side. Had it gone for 10 more seconds, or had it been under the previous rules, Fusion would almost certainly have been counted out. So it's an understandable decision that ultimately Witch Doctor would take it. Personally, of the two, Mac, how do you feel on this one?
I disagree heavily with this decision. I honestly thought I thought Fusion won this match, like, because I think they did more damage. Like, they destroyed with they took out with Soda's weapon. Like, I don't know. It was like for me, like it was more Fusion's fight than anything.
Now, personally, I also would have given this fight to Fusion, but I completely understand the decision because ultimately, while Witch Doctor's weapon was broken and its mobility was reduced and its wedge was also ripped apart, Witch Doctor managed to break both of Fusion's weapons and essentially reduced it to one wheel in regards to mobility.
Yeah.
While Fusion did remain active, it had nowhere near the mobility that Witch Doctor did ultimately at the same time. This, as a result, it was a very close fight nonetheless, and Rhys Ewert, they made a show of the possibility of making an appeal against the decision, but Rhys Ewert, taking the loss like a champ, said that while he disagreed with it, he wasn't going to fight against this decision. And yeah, brilliant display of sportsmanship on his part, very classy.
Yeah, he said saving that cat in for later. The opportunity. Yeah,
you get one chance each season to be moving forward in order to be able to appeal against the loss, and he knew that if he was going to appeal against the loss, he should probably save that for later on when he might be in the tournament, for example.
Yeah. Cat's in during the championship, even if he's not in it. Like, oh yeah, no, my robot should win this fight.
It's like, to be fair, there wasn't really that much point in appealing because ultimately when this goes to the selection committee, it's going to be remembered that it was an extremely close fight, like razor thin, and ultimately that's going to do more to get him into the tournament than a potentially controversial appealing of things would be.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, at this point, I think Fusion is a lock at this point for the round of 32.
Yeah, like it's definitely up there.
Like, considering how high competition Witch Doctor is and the fact that they nearly beat them, that's something else.
Yeah.
In any case, we will also come back to this fight at the end of the episode, as it was such a close fight. We've got some more to talk about later on when we do the episode awards.
Absolutely. And up next, we have a special exhibition match this time. It's Doomba versus Double Tap. And now, Jack, since this is your favorite match of the night, give us the rundown here.
This is a match, all right. Okay, so the basic idea is neither of these machines are actually part of the final 50 robots that were selected for the tournament itself. These are rookie teams that they're given a chance to display on screen, essentially in order to be able to look into what developing a robot is actually like. They actually highlighted this as well with the likes of Terratops, as well as other machines, such as Dragon King, which is the returning Red Devil with some new additions on part of it. I believe that it also competed over in China as well. But I believe that we may see some more of these in the actual Golden Bolt tournament down the line anyway. In any case, Double Tap, another newbie robot with a fierce spinning weapon, making its very first outing as an actual competitor up against Doomba, a largely autonomous Roomba-style robot with an undercutter and a mounted chainsaw to act as a self-riding mechanism. Doomba, a jolly good bit of fun, a novelty that I personally am not a fan of. And unfortunately, that tends to be... That's it. It's like, I can see the appeal of Doomba, but I personally not a fan of this machine. And, you know, the fact that it's getting airtime on a robot like Orion, not really something that I like. In any case, this was a demonstration bout for both of them. Doomba, unfortunately for them, did not perform very well at all, as it milled about the box for a little bit, got hit by Double Tap, and then Double Tap tapped its ass out of the competition.
It took its brain off.
Ripping it open, exposing the innards for all to see, and it getting counted out.
Yeah.
My own... yeah, I was very harsh on this fight in the moment.
You loved
so
it.
As a result, yeah, -5 stars. That was what I've got written down. And I think we'll leave it at that, because I don't want to go overboard and be too harsh on these matters.
I mean, like these are gimmick boards. These, like, or at least Doomba is anyway. Yeah, like, what can you expect? Like, this is like data gathering, like figuring out, like, hey, what works in a robot, what doesn't? Yeah, it's like, what can you do?
Yeah, and exactly. And, you know, I feel like it was a time filler in this case anyway.
Yeah,
so,
true. I want to point out that, based on, like, the brackets, not the brackets, like, the list of matches I have, there are four more episodes that have, like, 6 confirmed matches. And this episode also had 6 confirmed matches before, like, the announcement. So, we might be in for 4 more of these exhibition deals.
Right.
Unless we have, like, some weird controversial shit going on, but who knows? That's, like, further down the line.
Yep, guess we'll just have to wait and see. With that, we come to the main event of the evening, a match with some drama behind it, as there were accusations of design plagiarism from the lower weight classes scaled all the way up to the heavyweights. Right, Zach, do you want to give us the context behind this particular one?
Yes, so, let's see, the driver for MaDCatTer, he made a robot in, you know, maybe I'm not the best person to describe this, like, because I don't have any notes.
Okay, so I believe it was around the beetle weight category of robots. The driver of MaDCatTer, in this instance, had designed a machine called Lynx, which was a borderline unstoppable beetle weight, and winning many championships, many different bouts. And there were accusations that Riptide was a scaled-up version of Lynx, with the design plagiarized by the Kurtz team. As a result, they really played up the whole pro wrestling angle on this, with Martin Mason as well. My notes here, Martin Mason would make an amazing presenter if they ever decided that they needed another, and I really hope that they get him on the color commentary at some point. Now, this is a great fight on paper. Two of the hardest hitting, best driven machines in this competition. Riptide, the rookie monster, and MaDCat, the veteran. MaDCatTer, always entertaining as well. Like I said, it was a great fight on paper, but this is real life, and the only real way that this can be described is Riptide just devoured MaDCatTer.
He did.
It ate it alive. It tore it apart and left it a smoking wreck. Now, MaDCatTer is tough as old boots as well, so that is a real testament to the power behind Riptide.
Oh, hell yeah. Like,
yeah.
Riptide, very super good robot. Very good robot. Like, don't like the team that much, but very good robot.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Riptide team either. a lot of people really did not like their post-match interview in this one, and they really don't like the shenanigans of Ethan Kurtz. I try not to judge them too much or anything, but it's like, yeah, they're a super cocky team. In some cases, it's earned confidence, but at the same time, yeah, a lot of people aren't really fans. In any case,
the Logan Paul of robot fighting.
Riptide is looking unstoppable right now, so we'll see how it continues to perform. It's up against Captain Shredderator next, isn't it, Mac?
Yes. Let me. I can just look here. Yes. Actually, yes. Yeah. Captain Shredderator, yes.
Well, I think it's pretty safe to say Riptide wins that fight.
No, look, no. You can't. You can never count out Captain Shredderator. Come on, Captain Shredderator Steel Part 2.
I mean, it did defeat Tombstone that time.
Exactly. Look, if Captain Shredderator if Captain fucking Shredderator can beat Tombstone, it can beat anyone.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see. In any case, hopefully MaDCatTer can bounce back from this and come back and perform strongly in the tournament itself.
Hopefully.
But with that we come to the end of the episode, which brings us to the episode awards.
Ooh.
Mac, what one shall we take it away with?
I think we should start off with the best driver.
Ah, yes. Best driver. And this is actually a joint award this week, as not only are they going to be walking away with best driver, they'll also be walking away with the Spike Dudley Underdog Victory of the Week award. We'll be happily presenting both of these awards to the new and improved Claw Viper, whose
yes.
dominating performance over the incredibly high caliber robot Ribbot earned it a special place in all of our hearts this week.
Yeah, very dominating performance this week. Fucking hell.
Yep. Do we have an honorable mention for best driver as well?
I mean, like, Minotaur's always a good shout. Actually, Blip as well. Like, Blip was pretty good for like the driving match, like the match with Huge.
And there's also Huge itself.
Yeah, true.
Which also performed very well in terms of driving.
Yep. Yeah, like,
but in any case,
some good driving this episode.
Best loser of the night. Happily giving this one to... So best performance in a losing effort, we're happily giving this performance to Reese Ewart and Fusion for its razor thin loss to the mighty Witch Doctor.
Oh, yes. Like, super
Reese, your brother Jake once listened to an episode of our show, so if you ever happen to listen to this episode, know that we love you, and we love just how much Fusion has come along. Team Waiachi is looking awesome these days.
This will eventually become an official podcast of Team Waiachi, and I will be fine with that.
Oh, dude, that's the dream. That's the dream. So shout out to Team Waiachi. You guys are doing amazing stuff this season, which comes as no surprise, really.
Yeah, because of course they are the family team.
Yep, we'll come back to them in a minute. Actually, up next, KO of the night. There's really no other option except to give this to Riptide, is there, Mac?
Yeah, like, cause let's see who else.
There are other KOs. There are other KOs, but there was no KO quite so complete as this one.
Yeah, because like Riptide just effectively dominated them. Like they.
Oh yeah, tore it apart.
Ripped to shreds, if you would.
Yeah, just devoured it. Just ripped it apart and picked its teeth with the bones. So, Riptide, congratulations. You got yourself a Knockout of the Week award. And finally, we come to the big one, the fight of the night. The one with the most drama, the one that was the most exciting to watch, and the one that earned a special place in all our hearts.
It's Doomba versus Double Tap. Congratulations. You did it. Come on,
and
Jack,
with that,
for me.
And that's the end of the Jack and Mac Big Bot Bonanza forever. Everybody.
Yeah, Mac and Mac.
Was it worth that?
Yes. Yes, it was. Fucking Fusion versus Witch Doctor.
That's correct. Yep, it was a pretty easy decision to make. No fight had this much drama, and it was just an absolute slobber knocker from bell to bell. Witch Doctor versus Fusion. So congratulations to Team Waiachi. You got yourself another award this week, and congratulations to Witch Doctor. I believe this is their first award of the season from us.
I think so. Did we? It's either the
It's either their first or their second.
It's one of them.
In any case, congratulations, Witch Doctor and Fusion, for putting on the best fight of the episode and our fight of the night. We can't wait to see you both in the box again.
Hell yeah. Alright, next episode. Should we run down the card for next episode, or like did we do that last time?
Let's see. I don't know if it's available right now, but I think that we did run it down, but I think we'll leave it for this time.
Okay, I see. Okay. I mean, all you need to know is next week, Lineal Tower Defense.
Oh boy, interesting.
So yeah, that should be exciting.
Okay. So with that, we come to our off-topic segment of the week. Mac, do we have anything we'd like to discuss this time?
I have no idea.
Honestly, I don't really have anything off the top of my head, unless you'd like to tell people how much they need to go and see the new Puss in Boots movie.
I mean, we could have waited until after you watched it, but like you might not be able to watch it for a while. So, yeah, the new Puss in Boots is incredible. Like it is. How do I don't know how to describe this movie without spoiling it, because like so much of what makes it good is the content of the movie itself. Like it's fucking gorgeous. The story's amazing. The characters are fun. Like it's practically a perfect movie.
Wow, high praise.
Yeah, like it's honestly probably DreamWorks like top three for DreamWorks movies. Like it is up there with like Prince of Egypt and Shrek 2.
Wow, very high praise. So everybody, if you're a fan of animation, go and see it. I know that I'll be going to see it as soon as I can.
Hell yeah. I think it leaves cinemas in America soon, or like if it hasn't already. I don't know how long it's been out. I think it's been a month.
Whereas it only just arrived in cinemas here in the UK, so I am very much looking forward to seeing it at my leisure.
Nice.
Okay, so with that, we come to the end of the episode. Matt, quite an interesting battle team this week. Next week's promises to be another slobber knocker of an episode, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Like, yeah, good. We got a good card coming up. You'll see that once the image is posted later in the week, I guess. But yeah, like it should be a good time.
Wow.
And hopefully you won't have to rush out this time.
Yeah, well,
you have a lot going on this week, so it makes sense.
I am going to be in the office this week,
but
fun. I may not have anything on in the evening, so I might be able to, like watch after work this time.
Good. Because you had like a busy night that night, and you have like a busy day today, so yeah, it just worked out this way.
To be fair, if we can watch before work this time, that would probably be better, because then I don't have to worry about, avoiding spoilers all day.
That's true as well. It just depends on when the thing goes up and all the things and there.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts to be considered. In any case, we will see what the week brings. Until next time, folks, he's Mac, I'm Jack. We love you, those handful of people who listen to us. Take care, stay safe. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.